Guys, we're back, and we're doing a deck tech today because we're finished that Ghalta build that we did a couple of videos ago. So if you haven't checked out that video, take a look at it and come back to this one. And then you can just look over what I've added and then see if you agree with what we have done. So let's get right into it and then dig right through the deck. First, let's start off with the land. We have 34 lands, so let's get right into this. We have Reliquary Tower here. And this is great because we draw a lot of cards, so we're gonna, need to hold a lot of them in because we're gonna dig into creatures and then play our Ghalta, or secondary commander, the Ghalta reprint. We're gonna play our Ghalta to, play all those creatures for free. So yeah, we're gonna need this Reliquary Tower. We got Nykthos, Shrine to Nyx. This is just a good ramp. This is good for this is just for devotion. So you're mono green Stompy. Paying 2 mana to get like 12, 13 or more green mana back is really worth it. Great. Shifting Woodlands. So this card is just good because it lets you copy a permanent in your graveyard. So then if anything gets removed, you can just have, get it back with this one. All right. We have Balagad Sanctuary. This is just, it's a land slot, but if we need it, we have the backside to get stuff back from the graveyard. But that's not what it's mainly for. It's for the land. We have Garden of Freyleys. So this is just a shock land but it shocks you for 3. Then we have our forests. Okay, so gotta put this over here. We got our forests. So what I want to do with the forests in this deck is I put one of every different full art forest in this deck. So I am missing like 2. I am missing like 2 or 3 that I still have to add that I don't have. I just put stuff that I already had. I didn't buy anything. So let's look at the forests we have. And all right. So we have 3 of the Caverns of Ixalan lands forests here. And I need 2 more. I need to replace these 2 with ones I don't have yet. But for now, I'll just have these 2 copies of this because they look nice. So I have these 2, or these 3, but they're technically 2 extras. And then we have this. This one's from Thunder Junction. This one's from one of the unsets. This one's one of my favorites. Then we have one of the Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. This one's from one of the Zendikar lands. These 2 are from the Bloomborough, the new set Bloomborough. This is from, if I can name all these. This is from Invasion, or March of the Machines. This one is from Modern Horizons 2, Snow Forest. This is another unset land. Then we got the Theros Beyond Death lands, land here, this one. Then we have here, let's put this one here. We got the Fallout land. Then we have another Japanese from Kamigawa Neon Dynasty set. So this one is a different version, like there's 2 different arts of the forest, so I count that, not one from each different set. So I have Brothers War full art. Then we have Wilds of Eldraine forest. Then we have Unfinity full art foil. Some of these are I think about half of these are foil. Maybe if you can tell, some of these maybe not. This is a foil from Phyrexial will be 1 full art. Let's put these away because I don't have enough space here. All right. So then we have another Zendikar, different version. We have Midnight Hunt forest. We have another Brothers War forest. These are different, unless I'm wrong. Call me out if this is the same forest. Then we have Dominaria United. I think this is Dominaria United. Then we have the Modern Horizons 3. Of course, I like this because it has the Kozilek in the background, and it's also fitting because we have Eldrazi in this deck. And then we have a Crimson Vow full art. Then another Zendikar full art, and then we have another Unfinity Forest full art. And then we have the new Kapana full art foil, and then we have another Zendikar. So yes, so those are our forests for the deck. So I just need to replace those 2 that I'm missing, and I just think it's funny that I haven't done this before. I think this is a great idea. So let's take a look at the next categories. We're gonna look at the ramps. So let's look at the ramps for the deck, and then we're gonna start off with Elvish Mystic. These are in no particular order. I have Emerald Medallion to reduce everything's mana cost. I have another Finhorn Elves. Great Hinge, that's really good. It's also really good for drawing, so it's kind of a 2-in-1 ramp. A little bit of life gain, but that's incidental, it doesn't matter. Then we have Thought Vessel. That's just a good ramp early. Next we have Topiary Stomper. This guy just gets us a basic land, and he reduces our commander's mana cost by 4, so that's really good. Then we have Cultivate. This is really good to get 2 lands, so if you don't have any lands in your hand and you play this, you get one to your hand, one on the battlefield, then you can play your land for turn. So that's where that mindset is coming from. We have Soul Ring, good old Soul Ring. You know, don't need to say anything about that. Mind Stone. Then we have Nature's Lore. Just get a forest put on a battlefield. We have another creature in Hulking Raptor. Just gets us 2 incidental green mana during the main phase. Then we have Llanowar Elves, Birds of Paradise. They both tap for green. Birds taps for anything. Then we have Selvala. She's just really good. She has incidental draw, and then also just her ability to tap and make like 10 plus mana is really good. We have another dork here. This is good for graveyard as well. Plus it adds mana, plus it gets a little bigger. So I like that. We have Kirametra's Acolyte. I like that a lot. This is also just like Selvala. Gets us a ton of mana really quickly, and then we can just pop off. Another mana reducer here is Ronos' Monument. This can buff our creatures, give them the trample, and just makes our creatures cheaper to cast. We have Poison Dart Frog. This guy you can just block flyers, and it's a 1/1 with Death Touch. It's crazy. This one's just there for fun, and I think it's also pretty good. I think it's a good card. Leaf Gilder. So this is a maybe card. This one I want to replace for another card. I forget what it's called. Something of Ronus. The one that taps for 4 for if you have a power creature 4 or greater. 3 visits. Gets your forest, and then another Elysian Caryid. So it's funny because this looks like a lot of ramp. Like testing it out, I haven't really seen a lot of the ramps, so I must be just unlucky. But I like the way this is shaped up, because I like that a lot of this is low casting stuff, reducing casting stuff, and giving you repeatable mana each turn for free, so that's good. And then you also just got a couple and most of these are also bodies, which reduce Ghalta's casting cost, which is really good, which is what you want for the deck. So yeah, let me know what you think about the mana base here, and then we'll move on to the next section. Real quick, we're gonna go over our 2 haste cards. So we have our Lightning Greaves and card and Crossroads. So these are just good. This is good for protecting your commander if you're scared of removal. And this is just there for late game so that you can get all creatures and then be able to attack for game with it. This is a combo piece essentially. It's just a combo piece to enable your creatures to attack. You don't want to play this before and let all your opponents have haste with their creatures. I found that the 2 work fine. I don't have issues with needing haste. Because of the draw power in the deck, I don't have to worry about haste as much actually. So let's get into the draw actually. Let's see what we have for draw. So we have Beast Whisperer. This is just great whenever you cast a creature. All your small stuff draws you cards as well as the biggest stuff. Greater Good, the MVP card of this deck. This is one of the best cards in the deck, I think. You play this, play Ghalta, sack it, draw 12, -3, because you have to discard 3. And then you have a lot of gas in your hand to play with. And then if you have any of the mana accelerators, the one like Kirametra's Acolyte, then you could just dump your hand out. And then we have Up the Beanstalk. When that enters, it just draws your card, so it's a 2 mana draw card, and then also has incidental value. Whenever you play a creature 5 or greater, which you have a bunch of, you will just draw a card. Then Garruk's Uprising. We have Garruk's Uprising here. So this is just enter the battlefield if you have a creature power 4 or greater, draws a card. It gives you creatures trample, and then it's also good for ending the game because you need the trample. Because your opponents will have creatures to block with, so you need to trample over them. And then whenever one of your big creatures enters, you just draw a card. And then we have Return of the Wild Speaker. This is just a draw. I don't use the pump effect at all, unless it's late game and I'm going for game and I haven't used it yet, so then maybe I'll use that. But otherwise, it's just a draw, and it draws a ton of cards with your commander, which is really great. I have Momentous Fall here, and yes, I am using this one. Someone recommended I use Traverse the Outlands, and unfortunately I don't have it, and neither do my local game stores. So if I'm able to get it, I will test that card out, and then I will see how that works. But I haven't had an issue with ramp or having mana to play stuff, so I don't know how effective that card will be. But the Momentous Fall is great because I can just do it at instant speed on opponent's turn. So if they go to remove my commander or one of my big things, I can just in response cast that, sack the creature, and then draw that many cards, so equal to its power. So I feel like the instant speed kind of is really the deciding factor of it staying in the deck. Otherwise, if it was sorcery, I'd definitely change something else. So next is Guardian Project. So this one is just incidental card game when you're playing creatures. And then we have Garrick Primal Hunger. This guy is just mainly for the card draw as well. So, but sometimes you may need creatures, so that's also a plus. But mainly play him, draw cards equal to your commander. He's like, yes, he'll die, but he's a like 5 casting sorcery that draws you probably 12 to 15 cards on average, and I think that's worth it. All right, so those are our draw spells. There's not many, but when you get one of them, you'll draw into all of them eventually. Like you'll draw into the next one, and then it has a snowball effect. So you're just gonna get through these really quickly. The deck goes very fast when it's mid to late game. Mid to late game, deck goes pretty quickly. You can pretty much deck yourself if you're not careful with this deck, because it draws a ton. All right, let's get to the removal part of the deck. We have Archdruid's Charm. I'm using this as a removal slot because of the exile artifact and enchantment part, because the other stuff is just a bonus. I don't need the other two sections, but I do need removal, and I think this is fine for a modal spell, so I do like that. Then we have next card is Collective Resistance, and this is just also a modal spell that you can escalate to do multiple of the effects. Next is Linguify. This is just a good way of removing a commander or a problematic creature without removing it, because sometimes players can just get it back or send their commander to the command zone and recast it, so you don't want that. Broken Bond, this is just good to destroy something and then ramp, so it's a 2-in-1. I like that. All right, next we have Scrap Shooter. This guy's just a good cheap body that also removes something, and he has reach, so he can block a lot of flyers or anything else that might try to evade. Kinker Bloom is another one. This is also a body that reduces your commander's mana cost to cast, and it's a removal, so and a blocker, so it's like a 3-in-1. So I like that a lot. And just like the Linguify, I have Song of the Dryads to get rid of problematic creatures or commanders that you don't want them casting again. So these are the removal spells. It's not at the 10 or 12 that's recommended. You're going to be drawing through your deck a lot, so you're going to pull a lot of these very easily. All right. Next, we're going to go into the cheating creatures out part. So we're gonna cheat creatures out with these cards. We have Birthing Ritual. This card's underrated. This card's not just good for playing big creatures for free, or essentially, but it lets you dig through your deck a lot faster. So you look at the top 7 cards of your library, and then you can put them on. You can play a creature by sacrificing another creature, and then put the rest on the bottom. But if you're drawing nothing but lands, or you're not drawing lands, then you can use this to just tuck 7 cards, and then maybe you can get into what you need. So it's just good that way. And then next is Green Sun's Twilight. This is just good to get look at the top X cards of your library. X is probably going to be like 12 because your Ghalta is 12. And then put a creature that's 12 or less to the battlefield. All right, and then we have Magus of the Order. It's like, what's it called? Elvish Piper, but so this is better than Elvish Piper because it searches your library and puts the creature into place. So this is what you get your other Ghalta to the board with when you have enough creatures in your hand, or if you have just like 2 or 3 big creatures in your hand, you get the other Ghalta, and then you just have 3 big creatures. Possibly if you have Concurrent Crossroads, then you can just play that, then you can swing and probably take at least one person out. Next we have natural order. So this lets you get your other Ghalta out. You sacrifice your commander, get the other Ghalta out, play a bunch of creatures from your hand, and then swing. Then we have Eldritch Evolution, same thing. Sacrifice your Ghalta, get the other Ghalta out, swing. Then we have Garruk, Caller of Beasts. This one's good because it digs for creatures if you're really desperate to look for creatures, or if you just want to dig through your deck as much as possible. So you get digs for creatures, and then the second ability lets you play Ghalta if you do have it in your hand and you haven't played it from your library with Natural Order or Eldritch Evolution, or the Magus of the Order. So this is the way to get big creatures out, get primarily the other Ghalta out, using your commander Ghalta to get it out, and then put a bunch of creatures on the board, then pay to cast your commander again. Because I've never cast Ghalta for more than 2. So it works fairly well. All right, next we're gonna do a section I call random. This is the random section. So this is just stuff that I think is good for the deck and I think just helps it better. Some of them can be maybe taken out and replaced for something better. If there is, let me know and I will try to do my best to do so. So this section is the random stuff. So let's go with Smuggler's Surprise. This card is underrated. I like this one a lot. Most of the time it's there for the protection. So giving your big creatures protection, like a Heroic Intervention. Speaking of which, Heroic Intervention gives all your permanents protection. So these are the only 2 protection spells really, but I don't really need more. I think just 2 is fine, I think. Because even if people remove your stuff, you have an Eldrazi in the deck that you can cycle, and you'll see how in a second, that you can put into graveyard, shuffle your graveyard back into your library, and then redraw it again with the big spells, big draw spells. Then we have Bow of Nelia. I don't know how to say that one. So you have this bow and it gives your attacking creatures death touch. So with trample, you just ping them for 1, trample the rest over. It doesn't matter how many creatures they have. So it's great. It's a great finish. It's a great piece to help finish the game out. We have Skull Spore Nexus. This card is just amazing, and it costs 2 almost every time. Plus, it doubles your creature's power. So you can double your Ghalta's power to give it lethal commander damage. So if any of your creatures die, you just get another token creature that has power and toughness equal to the combined power and toughness of all the creatures that died at that time. So, which is really good because you can sacrifice your Ghalta, get a 12/12, then if you sacrifice it to like Greater Good or something, draw 12. You get a 12/12. You can sacrifice that if you want. Or just replay Ghalta again for 2. And then next card on the list is Triumph of the Horde. This is just another game finisher with Infect. That's just really good. Next one is also one of my favorite cards in the deck. It is Excalibur. Excalibur is really amazing here. You play it for free and you equip for 2, and then you just have lethal commander damage. So this is 2 ways of doing commander damage as a way of winning the game. Infect, and also just trampling over your opponents through with this deck. Next is also another one of my favorite cards is Majestic Genesis. This is just a great way to dig for creatures and play them, or dig for permanents and play them. So this is just one of my favorite cards in this deck. I don't think I would take this out if I were to replace anything. Next card, also that's amazing, that lets you build a huge board very fast, is Feed the Pack. Feed the Pack is really good and underrated here. You play Ghalta and then you sacrifice it, make 12 2/2s. Now you have a wall of blockers that your opponents can't get through. The next turn, then you cast your Ghalta again. So that's just really good. And you just have blockers that people can't get over, while you still have creatures that you can attack with, be offensive with. So these wolf tokens that you're making are your defenders that you're defending yourself with, while you have your attackers that you're attacking with. So this is just great all around. And then last but not least, we have Ultra of Dementia. You're gonna have a lot of big creatures in this deck. I think it's very fun and troll to mill your opponents out, because the old version of this deck, this card was in there and I won by milling everyone out. And I think mono green mill is a hilarious idea. So that's in there just for the jokes. Also, the mill can just actually disrupt some people, so it has like 2 functions here. So I think that's good. And now let's get to the creature part, all right? So for the creatures, we're gonna start off big, obviously, with World Spine Worm. It's just a big, beefy 15/15 with trample. Dies, makes 3 5/5s, so it's good for making blockers or attackers. It doesn't matter, but it's good for making bodies to keep casting your commander consistently, so you can keep doing your thing. Next, we have Ulamog, the Infinite Gyre. Yes, this guy you can use to cycle your graveyard back into your deck and then redraw cards that people have removed. So it keeps your deck consistent. It prevents your deck from being milled, honestly, or getting milled out, and also can just be a big beater and removal. Like that Annihilator 4 is really good on this creature. Next we have another Ulamog. This guy is just great. Exiling half of the library of an opponent is really good, really broken. And you can do it very easily in this deck when you're playing it for almost nothing, because you can cast stuff for free essentially when you have one of your mana dorks that taps for 12 or 13 or 15. It's really crazy how easily you can cast an Ulamog or even the World Spine Worm without needing the Ghalta to play them for free. And the Ulamogs, you would actually cast them to get their effect. Maybe not so much the Infinite Gyre, but that one for sure. And if 2 Ulamogs wasn't bad enough, how about 3? Let's have 3 Ulamogs and have triple the threat, why not? I just decided to go for it. I'm like, I have 2, I might as well add 3, and it kind of works actually. Plus, this Ulamog here gets annihilated equal to the number of counters it has, +1/+1 counters. So which is really good because there are some ways to put +1/+1 counters on creatures. And so speaking of which, getting counters, this guy will do the job. Forgotten Ancient. This guy's just great. You play him early game, he's building. Nobody's gonna want to remove this guy because that's just it feels bad to remove something like this that doesn't really do anything. And but if they do, you also don't mind that because you want them to remove that instead of something else that's more important. But if they don't remove it and you get this Ulamog out, you move the counters on it and it's just game over for someone. Next is a creature that's not a creature, but I counted it, but I put it in a creature category, or the big creature category is Tangleweave Armor. So this guy is just a forecasting 12/12 that enters the battlefield and makes a germ and equips to it. So yeah, I count this as a creature. I've never used it as an equipment. I've used it in my testing as a creature always, and it's great. And you don't even need to have your commander on the board. You can just play it on turn 4 or turn 3 if you're ramping it out well. Next we have Prowling Serpapard. If I said it correctly, I don't know. Prowling Serpapard is just overall good in this deck. I like it a lot. Next one is a recent addition that I added yesterday, Pugnacious Hammerskull. This guy is just a good overall, as a big but cheap beater, and that stun counter downside is not really a downside because you're not going to attack with it anyways. You're going to use it to block until you need to attack, which is when you're going to be going for a game. His power also reduces your commander's casting cost, which is also the primary reason why it's in here. Next is gonna be Wayward Sabertooth. This guy's just really good. I like this guy. This guy just lets you play additional lands on each of your turns, and he reduces your commander's mana cost. So he's just a good overall, just like Pugnacious Hammerskull here. That's a really good card. And then if 3 Eldrazi's wasn't bad enough, let's go with 4. I just added this yesterday of time of recording. This Emrakul is really good because you're just going to take all your opponent's stuff and then they're empty and free to attack. So it's good to get blockers out of the way with this one. That's the whole point of it. And the guy that ends the game is essentially this guy, Zapondriel. This guy just enters with all your other big stuff, and then you're going to double all your big all your big creatures' power. And then that's all it does. That's all I care about. I want to double all their power and then swing for face. And the guy that starts all this is none other than the Ghalta Stampede Tyrant himself. This guy just plays all these guys for free, essentially. Then you play your Concord and Crossroads, swing for lethal, win game. Awesome, great. And that's the deck. So let me know in the comments if there's anything you'd like for me to add or remove. There is a couple cards I want to add to the deck. There's the Disciple of Ronus or something from the Modern Horizons 3. That is good, but I don't have one, so I will keep opening packs. I have still some Modern Horizons 3 packs left, so I will try to get that. And there's Surak and Goreclaw from March of the Machines. That's also good because it gives your creatures that enter trample and haste. And then I think there's like another one. There's like from Thunder Junction, the Rhino guy. There's like those 3 cards that I want to add, and I think the deck is for the most part where I want it to be. Do I think it might need some improvements? Yeah, probably. By no means am I a professional deck builder or anything like that. I just like for fun or how I feel. The deck is consistent mid to late game, and it can just pop off very easily, but I feel that it might be a little too linear of a gameplay, in my opinion, which could get stale and boring over time. So I feel I'll have to do some more playtesting with it to see if it's actually where I want it, or if it's going to be boring, playing the same way over and over again, because that's where it feels like it's heading, even though it's very powerful, it feels like. But if you haven't checked it out, check it out over here. This is where I tested the deck in our gameplay video. So yeah, check that out and see how it works and what you think of it. And yeah, it's time to make the next deck, and I am not sure. You can give me ideas for a deck I should build, and I will pick one that seems interesting or most amusing to me, and we'll do another Let's Build video, and we'll see how that turns out. All right, I'll see you in the next build.